body found decades too late tells no lies, but it also keeps too many secrets. I am Detective Drayk. Somewhere between the noise of sirens and the stillness of sealed evidence rooms, cold cases sit like ghosts in the corner of justice. I've walked through abandoned crime scenes where time has eaten the walls and rain has washed away the blood. But the feeling, the imprint of what happened, always remains. Cold cases don't die. They calcify. They harden into the fabric of a town's memory, whispered about at gas stations and family dinners, a quiet undercurrent of fear that never really leaves. In the early days, detectives fought blind. Without DNA, without forensic databases, without even the advantage of security cameras, solving a crime relied on instinct, grit, and the fragility of human testimony. Sometimes a case went cold simply because the right witness moved away or stayed silent. Other times, it was because evil knew how to hide better than good knew how to hunt. I remember stepping into a file room once where rows of yellowed case folders stared back at me like tombstones. It was a graveyard of broken promises, but something changed. The rise of forensic science, DNA sequencing, digital footprints, facial recognition shook the dust off old evidence. Fingerprints, once smudged and meaningless, suddenly screamed with clarity under new methods. Bloodstains barely visible to the naked eye became blueprints of violence under luminol's electric glow. Cases thought unsolvable cracked open like brittle bones under pressure. I think back to a case I reopened 2 years ago, unsolved for 37 years, where a single strand of hair found beneath a fingernail rewrote an entire town's history overnight. Sometimes all it takes is one overlooked detail to tear down decades of silence. Yet for all the victories, there's a heavy price. Every cold case carries a second victim, the community itself. Families age into despair, towns fracture under rumors, trust in law enforcement erodes grain by grain. Justice delayed isn't just justice denied. It becomes a slow, suffocating wound. In some ways, unsolved crimes are more dangerous than solved ones. A killer caught can be understood, processed, locked away. A killer unknown becomes legend, and legends feed fear better than truth ever could. Technology is powerful, but it's not perfect. For every case brought back to life, there are dozens more slipping deeper into darkness. I've seen firsthand how false hope can be a cruelty all its own. Leads that seem promising but collapse under scrutiny. Confessions that turn out to be lies, evidence too degraded to speak. I learned early on, chasing cold cases demands a different kind of stamina. It's not about the rush of arresting a suspect. It's about enduring the long, punishing march towards something that may never come. And still, we pursue. Because there's something relentless in the human spirit. A refusal to accept that time should protect the guilty. Every old case I touch reminds me, history isn't finished. It breathes. It waits. Somewhere, a killer thinks they're safe because decades have shielded them. Somewhere, a family clings to the fading hope that someone like me is still looking, still fighting, still willing to believe that the past doesn't get to write its own ending. Cold cases are proof that justice has a long memory. They remind us that even after decades of silence, one voice, one scrap of truth, can roar louder than all the years stacked against it. We owe it to the dead, but even more, we owe it to the living, because the stories we leave unfinished don't just haunt our past, they shape our future.